Welcome to the Akashic Reading Podcast, presented by AkashicReading.com, the place where you can learn to access your soul's wisdom, or at least stop digging the hole any deeper. I'm your host, Terry Uktana, and today we'll be talking about how to actually have a conversation with your past self in past lives. That way you can stop guessing and actually know what you didn't, and what about any of that is useful for your life now. When we get stuck, can't figure out how to resolve something, or feel like we should be able to work through this if only we could remember how, or even get ourselves jump-started, accessing our past lives can be the solution. The past life records in our soul book are one of the most helpful resources we have available to us for retrieving the wisdom and skills we're looking for, or helping us problem-solve how to acquire them. As everything we've ever done or been is recorded there in high fidelity, we can access experiences where we've already solved similar problems we're working through now. This loads the lessons learned into our DNA so we can just know them, much like Trinity in the Matrix learning how to fly a helicopter. They can also act like the whiteboard at work with a list of all the things we've already tried and found aren't the solution. For any given situation, especially lessons we're working through, it's more than likely we've been working on them for a while, and so have racked up experience in what not to do. Past lives, seen from a high overview or summary, can help us understand the bigger picture of what we're working through or on, and lead us towards the solutions. One of the biggest problems people have when connecting with past lives is understanding what's being presented and why. Past life records work somewhat like ads on Google, Amazon, or Facebook. What we're interested in now, what we're working through, struggling with, or becoming, informs the information we see. The past lives we'll be presented are specifically geared to speak to us about our life now, or respond to any request we have in our hearts and minds in the moment. As our minds are often out of sync with, well, a lot of things, what we see in retrieving past lives can create confusion as to what the purpose is for the experience once we've had it, or what we're meant to understand from it all. Those who delve into their own past lives rarely receive a random sample, general overview, or past life experience which is representative of the whole. Because the information is targeted to the now like a social media ad, the lives perceived will have similarities or themes and may not be representative of the person's accumulated life experiences. The trick is to understand the information and how to apply it once you have it. And one way to do that is through relevance. While various religions and spiritualities explain reincarnation as a series of lessons or steps towards a goal, which makes the process seem like a straight line from here to there, we as souls are complex, tapestried individuals interconnected with myriads of other souls and a part of the universe's web of life. This means it's rare for lives to be laid out linearly. While our logical sides would like to think of past lives as a series of classes building upon each other, like learning geometry, then algebra, then trigonometry, and now we're hopefully in calculus. However, the reality is far richer and more varied. I tend to think of the process more as weaving a Navajo or Afghan rug, where the weaver picks up a colored strand and weaves it into a portion of the rug, then sets it down to pick up another, which may be only used for 2 stitches, then another strand can be woven in somewhere else. This creates a pattern which includes many figures, layers of color, and patterns which themselves form even bigger overall patterns. What this means is past lives, no matter how they're accessed, will rarely present themselves in date order, most recent first, and instead seem to float to the surface based on relevance. Also, just because every life presented seems to end dramatically, violently, or tragically, this doesn't necessarily mean all your past lives have done so. Those with no relevance to your question or this life could all have been peaceful, agrarian, full of love, or been boring, hard, and fairly short with deaths from natural causes. Just as with scientific studies or political polls, you shouldn't come to conclusions about something based on too small a sample. It's more than likely not representative of the whole. Our souls seem to measure the relevance of a past life in 2 ways. 1, helping us to understand a goal we want to achieve in this life, or 2, pointing out something which will support us in removing a block or obstacle which is causing us distress. To this end, past lives will often be sorted so lives which are similar to what we're living now are the ones presented. This doesn't mean they've caused us to need to live this life, contain karmic events which we are paying off, nor are they some loose end which needs tying up. These lives are presented to help us remember the previous steps we've taken in order to achieve our level of soul development in a certain area and focus our efforts more clearly on how to move forward with this next step we're undertaking. This can pertain to areas of our life such as careers, relationships, lifestyles, spiritual practices, or pretty much any aspect of being alive which is important to us. They can also bring up a slideshow of lives in which we have struggled with or deeply connected to another soul. We can see flash after flash of how we've successfully, or not, been able to work with this person. Reviewing this information can allow us to lean into a relationship, cut the unhealthy ties, understand the underlying energy of a situation, or come to trust our internal knowing, which may be in contradiction to the observable facts. Past lives can also help us understand we aren't unlucky or being punished if our lives are particularly difficult, but instead living a life where our soul chose to work on a difficult issue in order to finally and fully incorporate the wisdom so we can move on. Another way in which to use past lives is to see them as conversations with our past selves. What can be more helpful is to view our past lives like you're in a virtual reality program or a computer game. This is easily done with your soul book. It's a matter of how you approach things. Rather than accessing your past lives or addressing your soul book with a request to find answers in your past lives, start with simply accessing your book. Think of this like getting an old-school dictionary or encyclopedia. You get the book first, then open it and flip to the right section before you start reading to find the thing you're looking for. Once you have your soul book in front of you, open it so you're looking at pages in the front half. Anywhere in this area is fine because the first half of your soul book will be past life records. With your book open, hold a question in your mind about what past life or lives would be best to consult concerning your question or subject of interest. For example, if you want to know about when in the past you've been a healer, oracle, or medicine elder, ask to be shown those lives or guided to them. Your soul book should start flipping pages to the section you want or put tabs on the various pages you want, as they may not be grouped together. If your soul book does nothing, this is not a failure on your part, but an answer. You might not have done or been the thing you're asking about, or you might just need to back up and word your request differently, or even think of another option to get the advice you're looking for. When you have pages marked, flip them so they're the ones which are open and ready to read, but don't go in yet. Set your intention to have a conversation with your past self, not to be them. You don't want to relive this life, you want to access it for advice and information. You'll feel a shift in this section, which means it's ready for you to start. Put your hands on the book and you'll find yourself in the past life. This will feel real, but in the way of video games. You're there, but also aware this isn't reality and you can leave it at any time. Where you are in the life, the timeline will be a perfect fit for your intentions, so not during a traumatic event or during difficult and active times. You'll be able to see your previous self right away, and they will be available in that moment to actually talk to you. In fact, the life around them will seem to pause so you and they are in a bubble and can talk freely. Just like a character in a video game, your past self will know everything about the life they're living, but they will have no understanding of your real life. They're not an oracle, your higher self, or some kind of guide. They are the complete you of that moment, who is fully aware of their situation, the choices they're making in it, and why. For example, they can tell you why they chose to run away from a conflict and live apart from others rather than stay. Why they chose to give up a career for their family, fight in a war or not, have 11 children and die young, become an artist rather than a farmer, and so on and so on. You may talk to them as much as you wish and for as long as you can hold the energy there. Also, you can return at any time to continue the conversation, so there's no urgency to get everything you need in this one moment. Get what you can, allow yourself to digest this, and if you need more or more clarity, you can go back. When you're first trying this technique, you may find you can't hold the energy for long. It's somewhat like starting a new physical exercise or sport. The first time you try, your muscles aren't used to the activity and so can't do things for very long. However, the more you do it, the more muscles you have, so the easier it becomes. If you find yourself dumped back into the Akashic Library, looking at your books mid-conversation, This isn't a lesson to learn or an indication you've done something wrong. It's more than likely just your muscles couldn't hold things any longer. Let yourself come back to your body and try again another day when you're rested and ready to go. Having conversations with your past selves can clarify so much about why you chose the life you have now, what about it was planned, what lessons you've already learned or alternatives you've already tried, and every little bit of help, well, helps. And that's all the time we have this week. If you're interested in knowing more, check out my website, akashicreading.com. Thank you to my patron of honor this week, Ingrid Grace. If you're enjoying this podcast, please consider supporting it by subscribing on Patreon. For just $5 a month, you can join in weekly patron-only classes, see all my other offerings, and get regular updates about what I'm working on at patreon.com/TerryUktana. Thanks. Bye.